They say life finds a way, and you'd hope Jurassic World Evolution 3 finally found its way too, after a rather limp franchise to date. Now don't get me wrong, the first two weren't disasters, but they always felt like Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo's neglected cousins, which is funny really considering they all come from the same studio Frontier. So the question is, does this third outing finally evolve into something worthy of its own paddock, or are we just watching the same old dino crap in a new enclosure? So put the kettle on, grab a cuppa, and let's go full raptor in today's review. So the big twist in Jurassic World Evolution 3 is juveniles, and no, I don't mean a bunch of chavs legging it round your park punching old people. I mean actual baby dinosaurs, little scaly bundles of chaos born when Mummy Dino and Daddy Dino decide to bang one out in front of their other cuck dinosaurs. And fair play, it's handled rather well here. You'll need to set the mood, comfy environment, right habitat, and place a nice little nesting area for the eggs. You can't exactly be a voyeuristic pervert and watch the action, but it is implied that they have done the deed. Once the eggs hatch, your park's filled with these, to put it frankly lads, adorable little troublemakers, and they actually matter, boosting the appeal of the park and strengthening the gene pool over time. It's a clever touch really, as it adds a bit more realism to the park. If you can call watching a Triceratops family giving it large realism, of course, but I already start to take a little issue with this, because yes, whilst it's a neat little add-on, it isn't something that is going to change the complexity of your park design or give you management headaches along the way. Basically, grab a stud, chuck him in with a load of females, and shit will go down. And that is important, because this will also feed into my much bigger question of whether Jurassic World Evolution 2 is simply 2.5 in disguise. The other big change this time is also the modular buildings and terraforming, and by God did this game need it. If you've ever dabbled in Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo, you'll know how powerful Frontier's creation tools can actually be. The community has turned this simple sandbox into full-blown architectural porn. Now, I admit it, I'm useless at this sort of thing. I couldn't design a garden shed if my life depended on it, but Evolution 3 finally gives you the chance to mess about properly. You can rotate, adjust height, snap angles, and piece together some neat little enclosures. From what I've seen, it's about as flexible as Planet Coaster, which is saying something. There's even a built-in workshop where you can browse other players' creations. It's not quite the full Steam Workshop setup, which I do prefer personally, but still, it's a massive step in the right direction. Then we go to what I call the so-so improvements. Supposedly, the AI has had a tune-up in pathfinding, and well, looking at this, I would call that a load of bullshit. Dinosaur management's had a few tweaks too. You've now got security cameras that let you play Park Epstein voyeur, tracking your creatures in full perv mode before dispatching your security team quicker than what was before. There are a few extra dino skin colours, a couple of new attractions, and, well, that's about your lot. Now don't get me wrong, these additions help polish things up a bit, they make the park feel more complete, but do they justify slapping a 3 on the box of a franchise that's been crying out for a proper kick up the arse? Not quite, because where it really matters, the TYCOON side of things, that is, the actual park management, that is where Evolution 3 still fumbles the ball. Now I'll use Planet Zoo as the benchmark here, because Frontier absolutely cracked it there. Everything in that game feels connected. You drop a bit of scenery, your beauty score goes up, guests actually react to what's around them. They'll chuck coins in donation bins if they're pleased, especially when you educate them on the enclosures, or they whinge about poor animal welfare and even protest with their little placards. There's vandalism, security guards, entertainers to keep families smiling, ATMs dotted about to drain wallets dry. Not to mention the benches, bins and lighting to keep the park clean, tidy and comfortable. It all feeds into a proper living system where every little decision matters, and that game is what, 5-6 years old now, and yes, it still had the other separate aspects of keeping the animals happy, healthy and well fed. Yet here in Evolution 3 we're still stuck in this weird theme park purgatory, guests will wander about like animatronics, smiling at nothing, completely disconnected from what's actually happening. It's also hollow, like watching some sort of AI convention where people forgot to download emotes to show any sense of personality. You see your park guests just sort of wander about, pointing at things. What things? Nobody knows. It's the same looped animation for everyone. You click on them, but nothing happens. There's no insight into what they want or need, like in Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo. No feedback, no mood swings, just mannequins with sunglasses. They don't even interact properly with the shops. They sort of glide in, vanish, and reappear later like ghosts on a lunch break. Even the management overlays only highlight which buildings guests generally like. They don't actually measure how beautiful or functional that your park is. And this bit sums it up perfectly for me. My park wasn't even open, not a single guest inside. But the moment I plonked down a little cafe, crowds magically spawned around it like extras on a film set. When my park here had a hurricane, air balloon rides continued and people would just trot about like it was a day at the beach. I downloaded some workshop gumph to beautify it all, but no one gave a shit and there was no appeal rating for it. Everything here then is all smoke and mirrors, and at this stage in the series, that's pretty inexcusable. For me, Evolution 1 was just about getting grounded. I get they had to please Universal along the way and they were getting up to speed and needed a little bit more flexibility. I can say where the game missed, but I accept it for what it was. Then came Evo 2 with some key improvements around feeding and animal welfare, but still leaving the guests and TYCOON mechanics to the wayside. But with Evo 3, there just isn't any excuse now. They have the guest system living and breathing in their other Planet games, but it doesn't even come close to appearing here. The truth is this: if you love dinosaurs, if you're into the Jurassic World films, or you just enjoy nurturing big scaly pets, then this one is for you. It ticks all those boxes. But if you're after a proper TYCOON experience, one where guests actually matter, where their happiness drives your income, and where the park constantly throws you curveballs to overcome, then this ain't it. You're gonna be sorely disappointed. Because third game in, and it still feels like Frontier's missed the heart of what makes management games so addictive. It looks the part, it sounds the part, but when you scratch beneath that dino skin, well, there's just not much life in there. You'll see that same design thinking crop up elsewhere too, and not always for the better. Take the building system for example. You need one facility to house your scientists, another to research fossils, and yet another to send them on expeditions. It all feels a bit bloated, like a checklist of filler rather than smart design. Some of these could easily have been combined into one or two buildings instead of scattering the park with big ugly boxes doing single basic jobs. I want to beautify my park, make it look proper classy, not clutter it with industrial bunkers that look like they were ordered out the Uline catalogue. None of that is a deal breaker, but it does reveal something deeper to me. Frontier still struggles to take that big step back on Evolution and ask what actually makes this fun. Instead, it's like they're adding complexity for the sake of looking busy. Now, if you're enjoying the review so far, give it a little like and hit subscribe. It helps the channel more than you think. And if you like supporting my tea intake, take a look at the channel membership too, where it comes complete with shit emojis and badges. Okay, so let's speak on what does work well here. Well, the DNA research system is spot on. Genuinely, this bit is superb. You can unlock traits that make your dinosaurs live longer, drink less, run further, all the good stuff. It's built around assembling the right team of scientists with the right skills to go out and extract prime DNA, giving you stronger, more resilient creatures back at home. It's got that treasure hunt vibe to it, and it really adds a sense of discovery to the grind. So yeah, credit where it's due. Not everything here is naff, which if anything just makes the whole thing even more frustrating, because when Evolution 3 hits the mark, you can see the game it could have been. Visually, I am in two minds here. On the surface, Evolution 3 is a stunner. For PC players though, first thing you want to do is turn off the blur and depth of field. Trust me, it makes everything look like you've just sneezed on the monitor. And once you clean that up, it does look glorious. The dinosaurs naturally steal the show here. They animate beautifully, leathery skin, glistening claws, glassy eyes that actually feel alive. The modelling is top tier, genuinely some of the best creature work I've seen in any game at all. Frontier then deserves full credit for that. And beyond the beast, the parks themselves shine too. The lighting, shadows and little environmental touches, it's all meticulously crafted with love. I adored the little spray, for example, that was coming off this waterfall. Whatever else you say about the gameplay, visually this thing is a proper showpiece when all cylinders are burning. But as beautiful as it is, it does feel a bit flat, like my nan's pancakes. Lovely to look at, but not much substance underneath. A lot of that comes down to the lack of energy from the crowds. It's all very postcard picture perfect, a brilliant screenshot simulator, but in motion it feels barren, pretty but lifeless. And as much as I love the visuals, they're far from flawless. For a game so obsessed with lush vegetation, the draw distance is absolutely dreadful. Bushes will just pop up right in your face. That's what she said, and it completely breaks the immersion. The pop-in's been an issue since the first game, and while I get that Frontier's trying to keep it scalable across different systems, those of us on high-end rigs surely deserve a slider. It's the little things then that start to grate, like when you place a building with a preset pathway and it just sort of bulldozes over your custom design, leaving you with a right ugly mess. Planet Coaster solved that years ago. None of this is game breaking, of course, but it definitely takes the shine of what could have been a near perfect visual package. Then comes the sound, and this one is a proper hit. You've got that lush Jurassic Park soundtrack in full swing. I've had to mute it here for copyright reasons, but trust me, it's there. And it's glorious. It instantly makes you feel like Jeff Goldblum's standing right behind you, whispering about how great he is. And speaking of old Jeff lad, yes, he's back, silky voice and all. The rest of the cast do a decent enough job, though the main narrator still gets on my tits with his god-awful dialogue. Thankfully though, he doesn't talk your ear off the whole time, especially if you're playing in sandbox mode. The ambient effects are cracking too, the rustle of trees, the thud of dinosaurs trudging through mud, the distant roars across the park. Altogether, it's a tidy little soundscape that really helps sell this world. So where does that leave a game asking for $60 of your hard-earned cash? Well, sadly, this is Jurassic World Evolution 2.5. There just isn't enough here to call it a true sequel. Sure, you've got some lovely touches, the juvenile system, better modular building tools, a little hub for players to share their creations, but when half the fun of a TYCOON game comes from your guests, and well, they're about as lively as my dear old granddad who's currently 6 feet under, then you've got a problem. I genuinely can't fathom why Frontier didn't put more effort into that side of things, especially when the dinosaur management aspect was already solid in the last game. And look, I know the fan base for this series is passionate, so I'll cop the hate now, but for me, it's a 6 out of 10. Unless of course you adore the Jurassic franchise, wank off to dinosaurs and just want a gorgeous sandbox to stare at. For the rest of us though, I'd say hold your wallet till Black Friday and grab Planet Zoo with a stack of DLC for dirt cheap, because that is still the gold standard for park management sims. Until next time my lovelies, love to you all, Reggie.